Third and final debate between Governor Rick Scott and Charlie Crist got aggressive and it got personal last night. One example of the tone of the one-hour showdown came when the two discussed their ability to relate to the average Floridian.
I don't know my natural father. I lived in public housing. I have an adopted dad. They struggled for money. I know what it's like to watch a parent lose the only family car we had. Charlie grew up with plenty of money. He's never had to worry about money. He's never had to worry about being laid off.
Listen, when I was a little kid, we lived in a small apartment in Atlanta when my dad was going to medical school, and he used to deliver newspapers to make ends meet.
Here to talk about it is Dr. Kevin Walsh. He's a political science professor at Broward College and an expert on campaigns. Well, I tell you, you found him on the school on Twitter, by the way, at Broward College. Good morning to you, Doctor. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Jimmy. It's great to be here. I appreciate you asking me to come on.
Yeah, well, tell us what your initial thought about last night's debate.
You know, I don't think there was any knockdown in the debates. I don't think there was a clear winner. Charlie typically wins on style points. He's got the telegenic, polished look to him, and frankly, Rick Scott he's always a little awkward on stage.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was a clear knockdown in the debate.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. You know, it's funny we talk about just looking at them, the style points. Governor Scott, someone told him to smile, and someone told him to look into the camera when he spoke, even though he was addressing Charlie, and Charlie was a few feet away from him. And it combined to be pretty awkward, I thought.
Yeah, it did. It appeared as though he was smiling at things that were perhaps inappropriate.
Right.
And it does make for an awkward moment on TV. But I think it is a little bit, he needs to show a little bit more of a sense of humor, and I think he needs to connect with the voters. So I think that's what, his advisors were trying to tell him there. Try to connect a little bit, be a little bit more personable.
Yeah.
At times it may have seemed awkward. You're right. I agree.
Doctor, in the debate, the bite we just played, it was almost they were trying to, who was the poorer at one point in their lives.
Right.
And
a couple of poor politicians. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, we feel so badly for him. And poor Charlie, he had to live in a small apartment while his father was finishing medical school in Atlanta. It just, I had to roll my eyes.
And delivering newspapers,
yeah.
You might add. I've never heard of a medical student delivering newspapers, but that's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. But at least, Rick Scott missed opportunities, though. When that happens, he should look into the camera. And he should say, if you're watching a television and you're living in public housing, you can become me. You can succeed, because I did it. I did where you are. I was, and he did. I thought he missed an opportunity there.
I think you're right. He's got to push home that point of the American dream. I think he does a little bit, but he really doesn't do it in a way that is forceful. That really distinguishes him from Charlie, because I think Charlie occasionally, again, he uses some of the standard tactics from the Democratic Party playbook. Some of the class warfare rhetoric. The out-of-touch Republican, pro-business. He's not for the people. He flies around in a private jet.
Right.
The stratosphere. He's got the mansion on the ocean. I think Rick Scott could have responded with a little bit more about how the American dream is there for everybody. But I also think he could have shot back a little bit with Charlie. There's a little bit of hypocrisy here. He's a millionaire.
Right.
He hauled in $720,000 last year. How many listeners to the show are hauling in $700,000?
Right.
In addition to that, he's married a pretty wealthy socialite himself. Charlie's part of the 1%. So this idea that Rick Scott is the rich Republican who's out of touch. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, it doesn't really fly. So all the polls seem to suggest they're basically tied. What is this going to come down to? What were they trying to accomplish last night with undecided voters or those who might switch?
Yeah, well, Charlie, he was up 10% several months ago. I think he's got a couple of things he needs to do. Obviously, he needs to energize that base. The Democratic Party has typically underperformed in these midterm elections, particularly in Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade counties. He needs to energize that base and bring enthusiasm. Part of his strategy, he needs the African-American vote, and I think some of the racial tensions last night that you saw, some of the discussions about Republicans and race,
Right.
that was designed, again, to be a wedge issue to energize the African-American base.
Yeah, that's what he needs, and that's why, well, when Bill Clinton came in, the first thing they did, they went to an African-American restaurant, took photos with the staff and the chefs and all those kinds of things, a lot of the patrons.
That's right.
It seems designed just to go down that route. They need that African-American vote in a large number to get out. Hey,
No
Doc.
question about it. And also, the women vote. He really needs the female vote. And I think there's still, Charlie's probably a little bit worried about what happened with Nan Rich. He was kind of portrayed as ignoring her, maybe alienating women. So he really he needs to energize the women vote as well in the Democratic Party.
Right. We talked a lot about that when he went and debated her. Hey, Doctor, thanks so much for being a part of the program. We appreciate your time this morning.
Jimmy, I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Dr. Kevin Walsh, political science professor at Broward College.